Hey everyone, I'm Alexis, and this is my life story. So, starting out from young, I was born in England. I am a dual citizen. All of my mother's side of her family lives over there. My mother is British, of course. My dad was in the military. That's why he was stationed over in England at the time. And they had me. I was 6 years old whenever we moved to America. We moved to a state called Oklahoma. And I guess that's where it kind of like started. I had a British accent when I first moved here, of course, and that's when the bullying started. I switched up my accent to try and fit in, of course, because I already felt like I wasn't, meant to be there. After, switching up my accent to an American accent, trying to fit in, I soon realized that being half black wasn't it. I started to get bullied for being black on the school bus. It was a hard time, it was a really hard time. I had a lot of close friends. I wouldn't say a lot, but I had like three or four core friends in elementary that really helped me get through that rough time. Growing up with a father that was in the military was already as hard as it gets for me. My dad, I love him, but he was very strict, uh, as most military parents are. If you know, and he wasn't there a lot because of his job, and when he was, I didn't want him to be there because we didn't get along. So already having problems at home and then having problems at school made it really hard on me, starting out. And it slowly progressed into junior high. I ended up continuing to get bullied. And it was, for me, obviously, being a half black girl liking white guys, in the early 2000s, that didn't really go together very well. And I felt like the only way I could have that guy's attention, the white boy's attention or whatever, was to be easy, and it worked, but not in a good way. I started to get really bullied then, really bullied for, multiple reasons, for being half black, half white, and not being able to fit in really with anyone, for acting like a hoe, for a plethora of reasons, like kids are not nice. And that's when the drugs started. Like, I started to pop pain pills, secretly still them at my mom's cabinet, and it went up from there. By 14, 15, I was full blown addicted, and the depression kicked in bad, bad. Like, I just didn't want to be here anymore because no one liked me, and that's really hard, you know, when you feel like you don't really have too many people in your corner. So the addiction just kept getting worse and worse, as I moved up to high school. The bullying got worse. I ended up leaving the school I was at and going to an alternative school to get away from that. I graduated a year early. I was going to join the military, but that ended up not happening because instead, I met my ex husband, and we decided to turn to a life of hard drugs at that point. I mean, I was doing hard drugs before, but like I wanted to step it up, I was self-destructive as fuck. Like, I wanted to step it up. So what's a step up? Meth, crystal, whatever. That was the next step for me. And it just took one time. 100% addicted. 100% for a year and a half. I can't even tell you how long. In that house that I lived in, we were all active meth users. I'm not going too much into detail about that time. Just know that it wasn't a good time. I'm not going to jeopardize myself like that, but there's some really rough, bad things I saw. And I wasn't a good person, you know. That's what drugs do to you. I saw so many bad things that would scar people for the rest of their life. Spiritually, physically, I saw so many things. You know, I saw the evil in people and I saw actual evil itself. And of course, you know, the spiritual side may have been like drug induced, but it was enough. Seeing demons, literally like the scariest shit you would ever see, like just trying to get you, literally like trying to get you. Thank God, literally thank God that my ex-husband and I decided to leave that house, and just one day he abandoned me. He left me at his sister's house and I never saw him again, but that was the greatest gift he could have gave me. My brother took me in at that time, and he was down the street living on base with his family. He's active duty, and thank God he took me in. And he ended up getting stationed in Delaware, and I moved with him. I got myself out of that negative area of my whole life, and I think that's really what helped me grow as a person, was removing myself from that toxic environment. So we moved to Delaware, and I slowly became addicted to alcohol because I never really got help for what happened before, you know. So it was getting bad, my addictions. I ended up landing an awesome job at Verizon, and they would take you out for trainings. When you first started working there, you would go to Philadelphia for training, and you would train with all different associates from like Philly, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, of course, like all the tri-state area. And they would put you up in a hotel for like Monday through Friday, and then you drive back to your state and work in your home store. Um, but one night, you know, when we were in the training for Philly, we were all hanging out in the pool and relaxing, and that's when I decided to get out of the hot tub or whatever. And everyone else stayed in there because I wanted to go upstairs to my hotel room and grab another bottle of liquor, of course, and got out. And I guess the story goes, I slipped, hit my head, and I fell in the pool. And no one in the hot tub noticed. None of, you know, the other Verizon employees noticed, of course, you know, because I guess it happened so fast and we were, you know, enjoying ourselves with, you know, stuff. So I don't know how long I was underwater, but the only reason I truly believe I'm here today is two reasons: God and the family that came in after that. They came in to swim in the pool and saw me at the bottom of the pool. Of course, you know, they called the ambulance, everything else, and they pulled me out, and I wasn't there, you know, I was pretty much gone. And God's grace, they revived me and took me to the hospital, and I don't remember anything. The only thing I remember is getting out the hot tub and going to walk up to my hotel room, and then waking up in the hospital restrained. My wrists, my you know, ankles were restrained. I had 6 tubes in my mouth, you know, breathing in the oxygen for me. And I woke up, you know, frantic, you know, panicking, and the nurse runs over and like yanks the tubes out of my mouth, and I'm like, what's going on? I've never seen someone look like this. Like she was pale. Her color left her body when I spoke, and I didn't understand why she looked so shocked, so scared, and she didn't say anything. She just ran out the room, and like 10 people walk in, like doctors, nurses, whatever, and just in awe looking at me. And the doctor finally explains to me the situation of what happened, and she had pretty much told me that when I came into the hospital, they of course did, like, you know, MRIs and CT scans of my brain, and they scanned my brain, and they said that I was completely brain dead when I came in. There was no active brain activity. And they had already called my parents. My parents at that time were living in Italy. And they had told my parents, the situation and that they needed to fly over here so they can pretty much decide what they're going to do, if they're going to keep me on the life support or if they're going to take me off. And I woke up perfectly fine, how I am today, no damage to my brain, especially not brain dead. The doctor said in her 20 something years of being a doctor, she's never seen this happen. And I knew from that moment on that God was with me that day. I walked out of the hospital the next day. For 6+ years, I still continued on that addiction. I ended up meeting my current now husband, when I was 21. For 4 years, put him through hell. At the very last of my addiction, I was so addicted to alcohol that my eyes were completely yellow. I had the shakes if I didn't drink within the first hour of waking up, and my kidneys and liver felt swollen. I was just always in pain. I was always, always nauseous. But I knew I wanted to start a family eventually with my husband, and I knew I loved him. So there was a reason to be here, and I wanted to give myself one more chance. So I told myself, just try one more time to quit something and see what happens. And I just celebrated 6 years on the 1st of this month of sobriety from alcohol. Even though you're going through stuff, there's still someone here on this earth that loves you and that needs you. Just stay another day, because I did, and I've never been this happy. I'm 31 years old, and I finally can look at the younger version of myself and tell myself that, I made it. I made it out of this. Just know you're not alone. Like, I'm here. There's so many other people like me who are here for people, who need the help or who are struggling. And if you took the time, to watch this whole video, I really appreciate it. I love you guys.